Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm sure you are looking forward to the holiday and the break as much as I am. And as you look to December, you might be thinking about scaling back, changing routine, maybe taking an extended break from school, but we don't want our kids to lose ground in math. So I created this video with some creative activities that you can do to keep their skills sharp while celebrating this season. If you are looking for help teaching math in your homeschool, then you have come to the right place. Please click like and subscribe so you can catch all future videos on my channel. If you're looking for additional ideas on making math fun and hands-on, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. So homeschoolers take a lot of different approaches to things, and one thing that we differ on is our approach to the holidays and how big of a break we take. We have the same discussion about summer, right? Some people go right through and other people, like myself, take the whole summer off. And so as we approach December and Christmas, a lot of my friends and I are talking about well, how much time are you taking off and how much are you scaling back, and who feels like they need more of rest and just wants to read picture books, and who feels like we need to charge through to the end. But one thing just to keep in mind that I always kind of raise in the discussion is that math is one of those things that if you take a big break, you are going to lose ground just because of how our brains are wired. And so that doesn't mean that you can't take, extended period of time off from math. I just think it's good to be aware of that as parents, that it's to be expected that then when we come back in January, they will have lost some ground and you'd have to make time for them to regain it. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to take so much time off from math and lose that ground, a happy medium can be to continue, but add some festive flavor, add some little more hands-on, some things that are a little more engaging. That's what we tend to do because of how our co-op schedule works. We do a good amount of school in December, and I kind of like it that way, a nice little push and then a solid break over the holidays when we're visiting family. There are so many ways that you can bring some festive flavor into your math program. And I just want to say that if you aren't familiar with Exploring Creation with Mathematics, that's the elementary math series I wrote for Apologia. It's an elementary series, level 1 through 6, with level 1 being first grade, level 6 being a traditional 6th grade. And everything I'm going to show you here is kind of a Christmas take on things that are in those books. So if you like this video and you think, oh, that seems like a fun way to teach math, you would probably love Exploring Creation with Mathematics. It's linked below. You can find out more. All right, so my first suggestion is super simple, and it has to do with something you probably have in your house right now, and that is all the catalogs. So I actually kind of love these catalogs because they went away for a while and they were all digital, and then they came back, right? So I save these. Obviously, my kids love flipping through them and looking at them, but these are a great opportunity for so many math activities. So if they have the prices, you can compare prices and have kids looking at decimals. You could have them adding things up, making totals, right? But a lot of times if they have percents, then you can calculate discounts, right? Which is a lot of fun. So just using these catalogs can be a great way. A lot of times having something physical like this can go right into a project or an extended lesson where they're pretend you have this much money and you're buying gifts for your cousins. What would you get? What's the total? What's the tax? You can make it as elaborate or as simple as you want to make it. Another great one is baking, and every homeschool parent, I feel like, knows this because we are just naturally bringing our kids into the kitchen to help, to learn, right? We know that the kitchen is where so many life lessons happen, but I just want to highlight some of the ways that Christmas baking can help your kids learn math. So of course, fractions. Those measuring cups are such a gift. It just grounds kids into understanding what a fraction is. A lot of kids, when they first learn fractions, that's where it clicks for them, is if you say, remember how we measure and we do half a cup of flour, that's half as much as a whole. So those types of things are definitely foundational and just great for giving your kid a context and something to base it on. You can even get mixed numbers because a lot of times we have 1.5 cups, and then you can look at that with improper fractions. You can use 3 half cups instead of 1.5. All that's right there, and you can do that with really young kids because it's hands-on. They don't have to fully understand the concept to track with you. They're just excited to bake cookies. But you can easily take it up a notch by scaling recipes. Now, in my co-op class, I had all my students cut a recipe in half because I wanted them to work with the fractions. But that is rarely the option that we're gonna take as families. Of course, you can double it, right, triple it, and look at how each amount changes. And pretty quickly, your kids are gonna be multiplying fractions or dividing fractions and getting into some higher level math. And a lot of times, they can even get the right answer when they maybe haven't fully learned that concept or been exposed to it yet traditionally, because it's hands-on, they're working with something they're familiar with in the kitchen. Another great option in the kitchen is to help them learn about different units. So if you can find a British recipe or something from another country where things are measured in grams, or a really precise bread recipe, that's great exposure. And whether you decide to convert it or just do it with those units, I think that's a great option. My family has a pretty diverse cultural background, and we like to make a lot of food from India. And so we have recipe books from India where everything is metric measurements. And that's just a wonderful opportunity for my kids to learn a little bit more about how things can be measured in different units, and we can just convert it or try to function in that. If we have those measurements, just do it that way. Now, most of the time when people think about doing math in the kitchen, they think of baking or something where you are making, I just learned about this, a homogeneous mixture, and it's changing chemically. Can you tell that we were learning chemistry today in our homeschool? But I also really like heterogeneous mixtures where the things stay separate so you can teach ratios. What do I mean by that? Well, a popular snack at our house during the holidays is Chex Mix. And this works really well for doing some ratio math because you can still see the different parts. There's the pretzels and there's the Chex, and you can do so many different things with this. You can talk about the ratio that you use to make the recipe. You can compare each person's different bowl of Chex Mix. How many pretzels did you get? Does the sample match the original ratio or not? You can change this into fractions, decimals, percents. Very quickly, you could even make a pie chart of which items each person had in their bowl of Chex Mix. So there's more than just Chex Mix, right? You could do fruit salad, you could do Chex Mix. You can do something with ratios where it mixes together like a punch, but then it doesn't stay separate. You're only using the ratios in the beginning. Anything like that. And what I recommend is you make it together. That's like the exciting part. And then you do the math, and then you get to eat it. And it's just a great day of math for everybody. Another super feasible math at Christmas time project is surveys. People love answering surveys. They love to say what their favorites are. So this is a great one to facilitate using if you have a family chat. So I'm on one family chat for my husband and one family chat with my family, and they're both very active. So what this looks like is have your child come up with some type of question. What's your favorite Christmas dessert? What's your favorite type of Christmas cookie? Would you rather get 5 small presents, 2 medium presents, or 1 large present? Something where there's definite answers, right? You can't let people just like go crazy or you won't be able to graph this. Once you have your question, of course you can ask people in person if you're at a co-op or somewhere where there's a lot of people around. But what we've done is we've just put it on the family chat. Hey, we're doing a math project today. Can everybody reply? What's your favorite Christmas cookie? You'll get even better replies if you say, we're gonna make whichever one is the most popular and bring it to Christmas. And then everybody is really invested in like, not just their favorite, but also, please don't make this kind, I don't like that. Once your child gets their results, if they're a young level, they can use tally marks to record the results. That's a great skill for young mathematicians. Up a little higher, they can start figuring out how many people out of the total and start doing fractions. And then if you're in level 5 or level 6 of Apologia Math, or you have a 5th and 6th grader, of course you're gonna wanna do the fraction, decimal, and percent, and a circle graph to just show the results. Those are just excellent skills to be sharpening. Okay, so my final suggestions have to do with presents. And at Christmas time, we get so many shipments because we're ordering most of the things online. So we have so many boxes. These boxes are such a gift if you wanna teach volume and surface area. So with volume, I think one of the coolest things you can do is just give your child a box and a ruler or tape measure and have them find the volume. There's so much there. You can teach them rounding because they might not be able to do parts of an inch, that type of thing. So right there, you can teach them how to round. You could have them measure it in centimeters if you want it to be a little easier than trying to round to the nearest inch. And pretty quickly, they can use the volume formula to find the volume. This gets a lot more interesting if you get 3 boxes and have them try to guess which one has the greatest volume, and then they have to find it, especially if you try to trick them by getting one that's like a weird shape. And I don't know, I just think it's fun when they're like, I thought this one was gonna be the biggest. So all that's with volume. Now, surface area is totally different. Big heads up, surface area is a lot harder than volume. I think a lot of times we think that volume would be the harder skill, but volume is pretty straightforward, right? So surface area, they're gonna have to find each of those sides, and once they find all 6 sides of a box, add it all together. The hardest part for every kid I have ever taught is visualizing the 6 sides. So if you have a physical box, this is great because they can measure, find the area of the top or the area of the bottom and actually write it on there. And it is just gonna click for them like nothing else. Anytime you try to teach surface area on a flat page in a book, it's so much harder. I mean, you can use diagrams and things like that in Apology of Math. I have them sketching it, right? But having it in front of them off the page is just the best thing. And this ties right into wrapping paper. So another great way that you can emphasize surface area is with wrapping paper. On a pretty basic level, figuring out which present is gonna need the most wrapping paper. But if you really wanna have some fun with this, you can go and buy wrapping paper with the grid on the back, and a lot of times it has a square inch grid. And so you could use that to even make a net for the box and show them the surface area that you need of wrapping paper to cover that box. If you wanna go crazy, you could see if you can get some 3D presents that aren't rectangular prisms. We don't have anything like that on our list, but if you're wrapping a basketball or something like that, then you can really have a lot of fun finding the volume or the surface area of a sphere. One way I plan on using the activities even that I'm mentioning in this video is I teach my Math 6, my level 6 math book at my co-op, and we have class December 12th, right before we go on break. And so I know that the last class before you go on break is always a little bit of a battle because kids are really excited. So this is the kind of things that we're gonna be doing. Still practicing our skills, but there's gonna be wrapping paper and gift catalogs and baked goods. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to help you see, that you can still teach the math, but you can add that, Christmas spirit so that the kids are excited and engaged. If you want to see what that looks like, or some of the many other things that I've been doing in my co-op class, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I have that linked below, or on my Facebook page, that's also linked below. And you can see pictures of kind of how I'm doing these types of things in a class with kids. I also post all the time of just what I'm doing with my own kids. And we do use Apology of Math, so you can see kind of an inside look with that. That's all I have for you. I'm sure that you have great suggestions, so feel free to drop those in the comments and we can create an even better list of all these great holiday activities.